Welcome everybody to another Gathering Update Zoom as we help you prepare for the gathering in New Orleans this summer. We'll be walking alongside y'all as you prepare yourself and your group to attend Endure in July. Just a quick reminder is that Gathering Update Zooms are held the second Thursday of every month, and each Zoom will consist of 30 minutes of information presented by us, and then we'll take a short break, stop the recording, and we'll have 30 minutes of office hours for you guys to ask any questions that you have that maybe wasn't about the topic that we talked about. If you have to miss any of the Gathering Update Zooms, we do record them and we upload them onto the Gathering website, the Gathering YouTube channel, and in the LCNS Youth Ministry Facebook group. So if you have to miss one, or if you want to share it with the other adult leaders in your group, make sure that you're following along there and catching those recaps. Thanks for taking the time to meet with us this evening. My name is Meredith Smith. I'm here with DCE Juliana Schultz. And tonight our main topic is going to cover what housing at the gathering looks like and what you can expect from our office in the upcoming months.
But before we get to that, I know you're all dying to hear more about that. We do have a couple of important announcements to get to. The first one is that our Team Flex application is still open for a little while longer, about 6 more weeks. That is open for any adult age 18 and over. And this is really your most flexible volunteer option. So if you want to come and serve at the gathering, but maybe you can't commit to the full event, or maybe you can only do for so many hours in a day, this is a perfect opportunity for you. So Team Flex volunteers will volunteer anywhere from 4 hours in a single day up to 8 hours for 5 days. You get to pick your schedule, which is why we call it Team Flex, right? And those volunteers will get a wristband for each day that they volunteer. That will allow them to attend gathering program for that specific day when they're serving. So we get to have you help out in all different parts of the gathering. You don't pay a registration fee, but you are responsible for the cost of your own travel, meals, and housing. So that application does close on April 30th. It's on the gathering website. So if you have adults in your congregation that are interested in coming to serve, go ahead and encourage them to submit those applications.
Another reminder is we know so many groups are participating in fundraisers this Lenten season. I know at my church, I went to a youth Lenten dinner last week. So I know that you guys are doing lots of fundraisers in this time. And as a reminder, if you want to participate in express registration on site, you need to make sure that you're paying your registration in full by May 1st to qualify for the express registration on site. After that date, the gathering office won't be able to accept any more payments because we're boxing things up and getting ready to go down to New Orleans. And participating in express registration just ensures that your on-site registration goes super smoothly, which is always a good way to start your gathering experience, especially if you've had a long travel day, make registration a little bit easier. So if your congregation is doing any last minute fundraising, that's okay. Full payment's not required, but we really, really highly suggest that you guys participate in express registration because it's just going to make your trip that much easier.
Yeah. Also, we were so thrilled to see how many people registered before the change in our registration rates that happened just a couple of weeks ago. And we want to remind you that even if you missed that registration rate, we're on our final registration rate. There's still time for you to get group or add young people to your group or add adults to your group. We know that a lot of camp dates have just come out, or sometimes we have new things that have cleared up in our schedule after spring break. It's a good time for families to start looking ahead. So if you have a young person who's interested in coming to the gathering, we want to encourage you to continue to add them to your group. But we do want to make sure that you have a couple of days in mind. One is the last day for new additions is going to be May 1st, right? So if you have kids, you're going to add to your group. The last day to do that's going to be May 1st. And then the last day for substitutions and cancellations is May 28th. And then registration is going to fully close on May 29th. So make sure as you're thinking about this, hey, if somebody's still on the fence, we want to make sure that they're on the fence before May 1st, right? So that we can make sure to get them in. And then we'll get all of those things finalized. Any substitutions you have to make between there and the end of May.
And our final reminder tonight is that we want to remind you guys that the Convention Center and the Superdome are both cashless venues. To be best prepared for that, our partners at LCEF are offering groups the opportunity to pre-order the prepaid Visa cards that can be used to purchase food, souvenirs in the gathering store, and more things outside of the gathering in New Orleans. So if you're looking to make your gathering planning a little bit easier, we really encourage you guys to take part in this service that LCEF is offering. Their deadline to order those cards is May 2nd, so you've got a little bit of time. But we heard that if you guys are doing this, the people that have their prepaid Visa card orders in are going to have access to order a $5 t-shirt from LCEF that will come to your congregation before the gathering. So if you're looking for that packing list or those travel shirts, I got a sneak peek of them and they're pretty cool. They're really bright. So that's the only
Easy
hint
to
I'll
spot
give
the
you.
crowd.
Right.
Although a bunch of people will have them, but
That's-
right, yeah,
that's
it's
true.
okay. It's a travel day shirt.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
Only.
make sure that you're heading over to LCEF's website. If you have questions about those LCEF prepaid Visa cards, they've got contact information there, so you can contact them about getting those orders in. All right, so let's get into tonight's topic, what you all came here for, hotel logistics. We know that you guys are eager to learn about your housing, and we're eager for you to receive your housing assignments in the upcoming weeks. So we're going to walk through that process and what you can expect from the gathering office in the upcoming months. Our operations manager, Becky Kahmeyer, has been working diligently to ensure that every group attending the gathering is placed in the best hotel accommodations across New Orleans that fits their needs and those requests that you put in on your online registration. As you can imagine, with thousands of participants traveling to New Orleans, this is no small task. And so we appreciate your patience as we're carefully coordinating with the city and all these hotels and making sure all those details are ironed out before we pass them on to you. We know housing is super important for super important part of your gathering experience. So we just want you to know that we're committed to making the process as smooth as possible. Once Becky is done with the housing assignment process, primary adult leaders, you're going to be able to log into your registration account online to view your hotel assignment for the gathering. We anticipate that assignments will be available for groups at the end of the month, so end of March. And once hotel assignments are ready, the gathering office is going to send you an email notification just to primary adult leaders. So if you're listening to this and you're not the primary adult leader, you will not receive the communication. We're going to send that email out to the primary adult leaders and give you some instructions on how you access that in your online registration account. This email is also going to include some important details to help your leaders prepare for their stay in New Orleans. We know that during Lent, schedules can get pretty busy, but we'll do our best to communicate ahead of time when you can expect to learn more about your housing at the gathering.
Okay, so you're gonna receive your housing assignments. You as the primary adult leader are gonna log on to your registration account and begin entering your group's rooming list, right? So if you don't want to wait, one of the things you can do is consider, hey, these are the rooms that we requested, and this is probably how we're going to room, who we're going to put in which one of those beds. So you're going to be able to plan and organize those assignments now. Then when you're ready, you can sign in, you're going to be able to, it's a really easy little system to assign all your people to each of their rooms. Now, we're going to remember that while we try to accommodate everything that you entered, we're going to keep in mind that the gathering office does reserve the right to change your hotel request based on the number of factors, like how many doubles versus kings we have in hotels.
Every property is different.
Every property is different, right? We have some opportunities to maybe mix a little bit of what we know we can do in with what your group requested. So there's a lot of moving parts to housing and to gathering planning. So if as you are reviewing your hotel assignment, you realize there is some kind of mistake, like you didn't put in the right dates, you're coming in a day early, or something like that, contact the gathering office immediately so that we can address those issues as soon as possible. It's important to note that you'll be able to see your hotel assignment and your contact information, but you should not be reaching out to the hotel just yet, right? You should be waiting until you receive your confirmation number, because we have assigned you to a hotel, but that hotel is not going to know who you are until you have received that confirmation number. So we're going to provide those confirmations when you get those. Let me start. groups get confirmation numbers to their primary adult leaders, and we'll cover that in our timeline a little bit later on. Then you'll be able to make that reach out, but don't reach out right away asking questions of your hotel when you receive that assignment.
Yeah, that's a really important point. There's a little test of patience when it comes to the
It's hard,
housing
because you know,
process.
but they don't know, but then when they know, then you get to, right, yeah. there's a
Yes, so
little
we
bit of that.
appreciate that you trust us with your housing assignments and that we're communicating well with the hotel properties. So after you complete your group's rooming list in the online registration, you'll have access to what's a form called the hotel registration form. And this form is a crucial part of the housing process as it contains all of the details that both the hotel and the gathering office will have access to finalize your housing. So please, when you're looking at that hotel registration form, double, triple check all the information on the form to make sure that it's correct. Because the hotel is going to use that contact information listed on that form to reach out to the primary adult leader. So accuracy is really, really key when you're looking at that hotel registration form. It's also important to note that you should not expect to receive any direct communication from your hotel until after May 15th. The exact timing may vary depending on the specific hotel property. So you can imagine lots of hotels do lots of things differently and they have different systems. But we can guarantee that it probably won't be until after May 15th. But all the hotels will contact the primary adult leaders individually for some security reasons. If you don't hear from your hotel immediately after May 15th, so let's say it's May 16th, please don't panic. Don't call the office, don't call the hotel. Like we said, patience is key in this step, and each property has their own reservation process, which you've probably seen if you've been traveling. Each hotel operates just a little bit differently. And some have to abide by different rules, and so some might be quicker than others. So don't panic in this time. And I know it gets really hard to not panic when it's like May 30th.
You will have a hotel, I promise.
You do have it. We have a space for you. So just keep that date in mind, that you don't need to communicate with your hotel until after they've communicated with you.
But once they have, you're gonna receive that initial hotel communication, and at that point, you're gonna be prompted to pay your hotel deposit, right? The gathering office does strongly recommend that the groups use credit cards to pay for their hotel deposits, which covers one night stay for each of your rooms. And that does not include taxes or holds or any of that yet. So this is just
Good
to
reminder
secure
that-
your room.
Good
right?
reminder that the taxes will be about 17%.
Yeah. Mhm. Right, so you're gonna use that credit card, just gonna simplify the process significantly. It allows for kind of quick, secure payment, and eliminates the need to mail anything to
Yes.
us, right? That credit card does not need to be a church credit card. It could be somebody who wants to get some extra hotel points, whatever works best for your group, right? So we've heard some leaders that have people who have special travel cards where they're able to work, however that works best for you guys. But it has to work whatever your trust or your treasurer, your policies for your church work.
I think it's worth mentioning here, I know it's not on the slide, but if you choose to pay with credit card, you don't have to pay like right away. You won't have to pay to the hotel until they reach out to you with their secure payment.
Right.
So it buys you a little bit of extra time if you're using credit card.
Right? However, if your church policy or your procedures does require you to pay by check, you'll need to mail both your check and the hotel registration form to our office by April 9th. Not a postmark date, we need to have it on
Yes.
April 9th, right? And the check must be made out to the assigned hotel property. Right, and the gathering office will then deliver that to the hotel on your behalf. So Becky will take those checks down and hand deliver them to your hotel. And pay by check may take a little bit longer than if you choose to pay by credit card. You kind of have to wait for us to get that card or that check all the way to them in April. And then if you are gonna fully pay with check, you should probably expect to be able to have to pay fully for your rooms at least 2 weeks in advance. Sometimes they'll take a check on the spot,
Right.
but often we're finding more and more hotels, if you are gonna pay by check, expect to have that full payment for all your rooms up front.
Especially when you're writing a check too, it's very important to make sure that you have the right amount because you can't get another church check cut on site at the gathering,
Right,
so.
and that hotel will be able to help you navigate exactly what it look like and all of those different pieces. So, checks made out to the hotel property, not to us, right? In time for us to be able to take them down to the hotel.
Yeah, but we just strongly encourage you guys, if you have the ability to use a credit card, it's going to make things so much easier. Your process is gonna be so much easier. If you stayed in a hotel before, you kind of know how that process works when you give them your credit card and how you get charged. So just to recap at this point, so you've received your assignment, you've entered in your rooming list, you've double checked your information, and you've waited for your hotel to contact you. You received your hotel communication, so it'll be after May 15th, and you paid that hotel deposit because the hotel has emailed you their secure payment option. After all of this, then you are prepared to get your confirmation number. So on your online registration, you will not see a confirmation number until the hotel has received that payment and put your name and your group into their process. So after your hotel has received your deposit payment, you, the primary adult leader, will receive the confirmation number for your hotel reservation. Once you have this confirmation number, then you are allowed to contact your hotel directly. Until you have that confirmation number, you should not reach out to the hotel property as they're not going to be able to assist you. Once you have that confirmation number, all further housing related questions must be handled directly with your hotel, as it's kind of out of the gathering office's hands at that point. We can't manage your reservation once you have a confirmation number from the hotel. And as a reminder, if you are a rewards member with your hotel property, so if you have Marriott Rewards or Hilton Rewards and that's where you're staying, you should be able to enter that confirmation number into your rewards account after receiving it, just so you have easy access. You don't want to have to print things. You should have easy access to on your property's accounts. And if you want to sign up for those rewards after, you find out your hotel assignment, you're more than welcome to do that. Key there is just wait till you have your confirmation number to reach out to the hotel. We kind of instruct the hotels until that you have a confirmation number that they're not supposed to talk to you. You also should not call them and ask for rollaway beds. That's one of the things that we've talked about that they will not be able to give you. They've been instructed by our office to not give that to you. So that was a lot of talking.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, I understand. So we put together a little timeline for all of our visual learners, if you're like me, to have an idea of what the housing timeline looks like. So feel free to take a screenshot right now, but we'll also send this to you in a recap update on, tomorrow. We'll send it out tomorrow.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot, but I promise it's just a couple of, the steps are all really simple,
Yes.
right? So I believe in you. You can do this. It's a little more complicated than maybe a typical hotel reservation, but
Sure.
it's a lot of the same steps as well. And so once you've got this far, congratulations, right? You've got it, right? After all your travel has gone really smoothly and you're at the hotel and you've arrived, this is great. We do want to remind you of a couple of things. One is that a credit card is going to be required when you check in, and they're going to hold that for incidentals, right? So this is really common in pretty much every hotel always. Yeah. You're going to put a credit card down, they're going to do a hold, and really that just holds amount for each room. And it's going to be something that they would use for potential charges like
Room service.
Gift shop purchases, that if they have a little marketplace, that they could charge things to your room, laundry, those kinds of things. And that can range anywhere from $50 to $100 per night per room. So make sure you have a card that can handle that level of hold. It's always a good thing to talk about expectations, especially if people haven't been to hotels or if young people are in rooms by themselves for the first time. Making sure they know that they're double checking if the hotel water costs money, right? Or not.
We've all been there.
Right? We've all gotten a $3 charge and been like, what was that for? Right? Or just really making sure that they're being respectful and thinking about what that means for them to be good stewards and care for the property that's there in the hotel. Right? You do have the option to turn off some of those things, but you're probably gonna do that closer to, and they may still take your
Right.
hold on your card, right? Additionally, Starting on July 19th, so that's Saturday, every hotel will have gathering ambassadors that will be available to, they're assigned specifically to your hotel. There's a couple of them. They're great. They're just available to help and answer questions for you. They'll be kind of posted up in the lobby, but they'll also have a sign and a way to connect with them that will be up in the lobby. They're a great resource for your stay. So be sure to connect with them, particularly in your morning meetings. So they will lead a meeting every morning of the gathering to help get you orientated to the day, know what to expect. They're gonna be great resources for you. So I encourage you to look for them on that day when you arrive to the hotel.
As you prepare for the gathering, we have just a few final reminders when it comes to housing. Since gathering registration is still open and you might have more youth that are interested in attending the gathering, if you find that you need to make a substantial, or if you add a substantial number of people to your group, and this change is going to affect your housing preferences that have already been uploaded into the registration system, please contact the gathering office as soon as possible so we can help you guys make sure that you get the right housing amounts that you need. And make sure that your gathering, that your group is all housed in appropriate rooms, appropriate amount of rooms.
Right. But also don't stress too much about your rooming list. And we want to be clear, you can change that on site, right? Nobody's doing room checks, right? So if for some reason, Beth and Jill get into an argument.
On the 17-hour bus
right,
ride.
on the bus ride, and they need to be in different rooms, that's okay, but totally fine with us, right? You're gonna put whoever you need to in those rooms. As long as that fits in with the parameters of your policies, right? So if you do this and then 2 weeks later, you change your mind and you're gonna resort them, that's okay, right? We just really have that list to make sure that all of your people are assigned a room. That we can send that rooming list to the hotel and have all that process.
And we know a lot of y'all have asked about having your group's rooms all on the same floor or next to each other. And the gathering office really does encourage the hotels to place those rooms in close proximity when it's possible. But it is really important to keep in mind that we don't move into an empty hotel. We can't control who it comes in outside of our contract and where they get housed in the hotel. But we really do our best to work with the hotels to get those groups placed close together. But we're ultimately at the mercy of the hotel assignments within the properties. But just know that we are trying to accommodate those preferences for you guys.
And that we want to make sure, recognizing that we have big blocks in these rooms.
Yes.
And the hotel is needs to continue to function, especially on those days when we have so many people in our group coming in and leaving. And so do try not to anticipate turning in an early check-in or a late checkout. With as big as our blocks are, that's really challenging for the hotel and their staff. And so if we can be really respectful and plan on, certainly they are probably all gonna have concierge rooms for you to check luggage if you need to, but don't necessarily anticipate being able to get into your rooms before regular check-in time. And we've had people talk about this, like if you do need one room for a late checkout, maybe consolidate all of that, or better yet, check out of your rooms, check your luggage, and then you're free for the rest of the day until you get to the airport.
And we talk a little bit more about all these travel tips, really,
right?
In our Traveling and Serving Well in New Orleans resource. So make sure that you're downloading that from the Gathering website and taking a look through that and talking through that with your adult leaders and your young people before you get to the gathering. Our final reminder about housing is just a reminder for you guys about how you act or react about your hotel assignment really does set the tone for your youth. Keep in mind, many of your youth don't have another gathering to compare this to. You might have been in New Orleans 3 or 4 times at this point, but for your youth, this is the first time, and you can really set those positive tones on your hotel assignment. Like we're close to the convention center, or we're close to the Superdome, or we're in the middle of both. Some of them have really nice amenities, or you're close to a really great restaurant. So just try to think of the positives when you're sharing your hotel assignment news with your group, and how that really sets the tone. And that's going to reflect upon your youth and their beginning experience for the gathering. Because a lot of the times your hotel experience is one of your first experiences when you get to the host city.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, reminder that once you have your hotel assignments, then we're gonna give out the information for purchasing shuttling to and from the airport. You will still have to pay for that, but we have a great price for that. It's a fantastic opportunity. But you can't do the shuttling till you know where you're going. So we'll have that available for you once you go to the airport. And then fun, after you learn your hotel, then we'll get to learn who your Bible study leaders are, their locations and their times. And so we're really excited to be sharing a lot more information about that and about onsite offsite service. Tons of things that are to come, particularly after we finish up with our housing. So
we're getting to the end of our time. We have about 2.5 minutes left. We want to give you some time to drop your questions in the chat. If they're easy enough, we can answer them before our time is done. But if not, you can leave them there. We'll take a short break and then we'll come back for office hours and answer all of your questions about gathering housing and all of those logistics. Or if you have other gathering questions to help in your preparations, we'll be there to answer those too.
all right, I'm looking in the chats. Yeah, most hotels check-ins around 3 or 4, right? And as long as you're there before the end of the day, right?
Yeah, and I
So,
will say,
like,
just from our experience,
right.
when they say 4 o'clock, they mean 4 o'clock. They don't mean 3:55.
Right, yeah. And I think it just helps for us, your group, to not have to sit in the lobby and feel anxious. To have a plan for how you're gonna manage your time before then. Okay, so, is there a credit card fee for the hotel deposit? You will be doing that credit card deposit directly with the hotel, and so. And so it's whatever the hotel's policy is, right? I mean, but.
It might be different than what we have in
Right,
registration.
so it's not like, it's not gonna be a standard 3% like ours is, right? It could not be anything, or it could be, but they'll put that in the paperwork with your deposit. But it will be directly with the hotel.
Patty asking about arriving really late, maybe coming in at midnight. If you are one of those people that's coming in on a late flight, or you get super delayed and you're coming in at midnight, that's gonna be best to call your hotel and tell them. You don't wanna get that no-show fee and then have your rooms canceled on you. So if you're coming in really late, just give your hotel a call and they'll make sure to mark it on your account.
Judy says we're switched from taking the train to driving. Oh, that's a bummer. We were excited about the train. But does that parking situation affect our hotel? No, it shouldn't, unless it changes your preferences, which I'm not sure it would necessarily. There's certainly lots of places to park in New Orleans, and so you can kind of get a sense of what's looking around, but once you know your hotel, you're able to either look at what your hotel's parking and what that cost is, or other adjacent lots all around. Yeah.
Somebody asked about a conference app. Yes, there is going to be a gathering app. You can expect that to go live probably the first week of June, give you at least like a month to start planning your schedule, your daily schedule, what sessions you want to go to and which, but we will make some announcements via email and social media whenever that's live.
All right, I'm scrolling back up. If you think you might be coming in after midnight, I think it's always safest. Usually hotels are okay, but it's usually safest. Once you have all that confirmation information from your hotel, to go ahead and call them, have them put a note on file that says, hey, we're still coming, we're gonna be in late. And just let them know, or if a flight changes, and you're gonna be getting in after midnight.
It happens.
It happens, absolutely, and they're really great about it. I feel like a little safer bet to just let them know,
Sure.
that that's gonna be coming.
We're at.
We're at time,
We're at time.
okay, so keep dropping, your questions in the chat. Meredith and I need to take like a 2 to 3 minutes
Water break.
because that was a lot of talking, friends. And we will be back in just a minute to continue to answer your questions.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We put the information to join us next month in April. We're gonna talk about more gathering things.
So much more gathering.
So make sure that you RSVP for that. Between now and then, we'll connect with you guys on the Gathering LCMS Youth Ministry Facebook group and through email and phone calls. Thank you guys for attending, and we will see you guys in a few minutes.